I don't know what it is with some people, but they just have to suck the joy out of everything for people, right? Not like serious things, not like, you know, oh, there's nothing joyous about most serious things. But like they see people having a good time and they're like, how can I put a spin on this that makes people think and it comes across that's negative? They feel like they just have to ruin it somehow. Now, I feel like every fandom has crazy people in it. Every fandom, every belief, every something has extremists and crazy people, as well as just the regular people, okay? There's people that make their obsession their entire life. And no one quite has super fans as much as Taylor Swift does. Did you know she's on tour at the moment? If you didn't and you haven't looked at anything, you haven't opened your eyes over the past year because it is everywhere. But all in all, being a Taylor Swift super fan is pretty harmless, right? Apart from didn't people in Italy throw potatoes at someone? I can't remember what that was. Something about potatoes in Italy. If you were a parent, or perhaps you are a parent, and your child was like, Mum or Dad, I'm getting into Taylor Swift's music, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, my baby, you know? You'll just be like, okay, cool. Well, that's not the case for this journalist, John McGillian, John, we'll call him, who wrote an entire article as to why Taylor Swift might be a bad role model, entitled Taylor Swift is not a good role model opinion. Now, this guy points out in his article about Taylor Swift how well she does at making money, right? She's making a lot of money. She sells a lot of merch. Her merchandise also makes a lot of money. Selling out everything, everywhere, all the time, right? We know this. We know Taylor Swift is billionaire, right? Is billionaire. That's why I'm not a billionaire. She is a billionaire. Does she do brand deals? I don't even know. She doesn't need to, but if she did, good for that brand. He also points out in this article how her Eras tour has brought hundreds of thousands of money value, whatever country you're in, into the cities that the Eras tour is happening in, as well as thousands of temporary jobs for people who are working this tour, right? What is it that this guy, John, is pointing out in this article as to why she might be a horrible influence on your children? Is it that she took a private jet a few miles down the street? No. He doesn't bring that up at all, actually. He says, and I quote, Swift is now the most influential celebrity in America. Her popularity is staggering and her position as a cultural colossus is unquestionable, right? At 34, I don't think I can say this, Swift remains unmarried and childless. Sorry, I've just gotten dizzy. A fact that some might argue is irrelevant to her status as a role model. Yeah, a lot of people would argue that, John. But I suggest it's crucial to consider what kind of example this sets for young girls. A role model, by definition, is somebody worthy of imitation. While Swift's musical talent and business acumen are certainly admirable, even laudable, I don't know what that means, we must ask if her personal life choices are ones we want our sisters and daughters to emulate. This might sound like pearl-clutching preaching. I tell you what it does sound like, you're a massive douche. But it's a concern rooted in sound reasoning. To who, John? You? Little incel bitch. So I want to state a few things here, right, for this ratty looking man. By the way, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, I just think this guy's a moron. He says, at 34, Swift remains unmarried and childless. She remains. Let me tell you something, right? Taylor Swift hasn't exactly been dealt the hard blow a lot of us millennials have. You know, we're not in the same category. I believe we're the same age, or she's a year younger than me. But like most millennials, we have something in common, I would say. Perhaps she just doesn't want children right now. It's a personal choice. And John, Martin, whatever your name is, if I was to bring you into this century, it's not something we speculate now as to why somebody who can have children, who can carry a child, we don't speculate why they have or haven't had a child nowadays. We also don't expect them to. You know why? Because we're not Victorians. You don't ask men the same thing. How old is Harry Styles? How old is Harry Styles? Harry Styles is 30. Where's your article on him? People love him. Girls love him. Is he a bad role model because he has not impregnated someone? I suggest it's crucial to consider what kind of example this sets for young girls. But how? I don't believe that role models' main selling point is their marital status, right? You don't become a huge fan of a musician or their lyrics, their work in general, dependent on whether they have children. If they were writing songs about having children and having babies and being a family and didn't have babies or a family, then you'd be a little bit like, what are you doing? That's not the case here. But that would be boring. That would be so boring. Can you imagine? Also, the word crucial is a bit dramatic, Jonathan. It sets up the whole image of this old-fashioned timeline of what being a woman, of what's expected to happen as a woman, as an adult, right? You have to be married, you have to have a child, you have to do this by this point of time in your life. Very old-fashioned. Extremely old-fashioned. Parents, maybe you can tell me, get a comment ready. You have a daughter, let's say, and I won't say son, because we know how the world works with this idiot man, right? He's just focused on your daughters. And your daughter wants to go and see a certain musician, right? She has all her merch, records, vinyls, CDs. Do people buy CDs anymore? Got all her cassette tapes. She wants to go see her in concert, right? It's going to cost you a good amount of money. You do some research on this person. To your horror, to your shock, you find out who the person who your daughter, who loves their music, you find out this person is not married and has no children. And guess what? They are in their 30s. What is your reaction? Do you even take that in? Is that something you look up? Is that something you Google? The one time I can think of this being a serious issue is if you were a family in the 1910s. He goes on to say, with her massive global following of 283 million followers on Instagram, that many people use Instagram, and 33 million TikTok disciples, he says they are, Swift impacts how young girls around the globe perceive relationships and success. Her career, which has included numerous chart-topping songs and successful business ventures, focus on that too, is a testament to her work ethic and natural talent. However, the glamorous portrayal of her romantic life can send rather objectionable messages. I feel like there's a few things here in this quote, right? First of all, glamorous betrayal. Now, as I mentioned, right, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I don't like her music. I don't not like her music. Actually, I have 2 of her songs on my main playlist. I just don't really listen to it as much. But then I don't listen to music past the early 2000s. I'm at that age now where my time music was the best, you know what I mean? But from what I have listened to, and the fact I was at her Eras tour in LA, a brand took us, and it was a great time. It was incredible. Good vibes everywhere. Thinking about your emotions being sometimes negative, or singing about getting over negative emotions and coming out the other end for the better, a billionaire pop star, or singing about getting over negative emotions and the highs and lows in lives and relationships in general. She's not trying to be glamorous, right? Music, songs aren't always meant to be a positive message. They don't have to be a positive message, right? It's not Christmas all the fucking time. We don't need positivity all the time. That's toxic positivity. Probably what he's seeing is probably how glamorous she looks on stage. That's performing, giving people their money's worth. They don't want to pay all this money for a ticket and have her come out wrapped in a bedsheet in her duvet talking about how depressing this period of her life was. You know what I mean? Not for the price of her tickets. All artists are like this though. All we heard in our youth was breakup songs. Songs about being on ecstasy. Let's be real, house music, what about drugs? The Macarena. Not that there's anything wrong with the Macarena, just that's the music. None of that music has affected my lifestyle growing up. You know who I was obsessed with when I was younger? Little Kim. I would listen to her music on my way into school. I had a poster of her on my wall. I had printouts of her album covers on my wall in my bedroom when I was younger. But I didn't go on to emulate her lifestyle. I didn't become a wealthy woman with a healthy attitude towards sexual relationships. A lot of artists throughout time have become idols. They do. That's their job. That's what they do. Even when they're dead. Idols. And they've all had terrible love lives. Terrible love lives. They do. They're celebrities. I think that's just a celebrity thing. But that isn't why they've become people's idols. He goes on to say this. Moreover, many of her lyrics often depict her as the victim. This might influence young women to adopt a similar perspective in their own relationships, be they romantic or otherwise. Swift is not a victim. She is the most popular musician of all time. Okay, yes, but listen, money does a lot of things. Money can make you very happy, absolutely. But rich people, I know as much as we don't like rich people do still have emotions and feelings when they enter a relationship, right? Unless they're paying for it, it doesn't take away the fact that they could really genuinely have feelings for someone and be upset when that relationship is over. She has the same emotions she had when she was poor or up and coming. It doesn't mean now she's rich, she suddenly doesn't have these emotions in relationships. I think that's a really stupid thing to say. This statement is, to me, this part of this is to me is like saying, no, I'm writing this because I care about you. Like, this is about you. He finishes the article like this. What young girls truly need, perhaps without fully recognizing it. Let me just say that again so you can take it in. What young girls truly need, perhaps without fully recognizing it, are role models who provide both authenticity and actual depth, rather than artificial narratives and superficial glamour. But John, your version of depth within this article is being married with children, not experiencing emotion, not making money and good business choices out of your life experiences, even your negative ones, even your negative relationships, feeling those emotions and turning them into music, helping other people overcome emotions and things like that. You just need to watch the people at Taylor Swift concerts reacting to songs and singing to songs to see how much some of these songs mean to people. Do I think it's a bit crazy? Yes, but that I'm not experiencing those emotions. You know what I mean? Also, the way he says what all girls need, although they don't realize it, is a real telltale statement. Here's some of his old tweets. Feminism exists because not all women can be sexually attractive. Who the fuck are you talking about, looking like some rat? A lot of you guys haven't dated women that add value to your life, help build you up and inspire you to be better. He replies, that's because such women are as rare as slim Americans. They exist, but they are an endangered species. So it just kind of shows you what kind of man this person is. I'm sorry, but you can't say shit about anyone. I don't think it's nice or classy to talk about people's looks. But when you're an asshole, I think you kind of deserve it. Okay, let me know your opinions down below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!